Alright guys, welcome back. First day of actual content here for our lab class. Gotta bear with me guys as I get used to this technology again. Today we're covering 7.1 part 1, which is what you guys covered yesterday. Okay, this is solving systems of equations by using graphing. Okay. So just some general knowledge that we should have from our time with Mr. Levarchik. What is a system of equations? And hopefully you guys can answer that question at this point. Okay, guys, a system of equations is two or more equations with two or more variables. So, an example of a system would be y equals 2x plus 3. Y equals 1/2 x minus 1. That's two equations with two unknowns, okay? So that is a system of equations. So some skills we need to have. We need to be able to graph lines, guys, from first semester. Graph lines. Take y equals mx plus b. You've got the slope and you've got the y-intercept. So we need to be able to graph lines. Okay. I also need you guys to understand, guys, the solution to the system. That's the point where the lines intersect, which is what you guys found out from Mr. Levarchik. That solution, that's an ordered pair. It's an XY ordered pair. Also, just one note before we start graphing. It is easier to visualize when we plot more points. Okay? Especially if you don't have graphing paper right now, guys, which many of us might not have. I know Mr. Levarchik had a resource there for you guys. If you have printing capabilities, you can print. But if you don't have graphing paper, we need to use more points. Okay, it makes our lives easier, and I'll try to highlight that as I do a couple of examples, or as I do I'm going to do one example today. And then I'm going to provide you guys with, maybe I'll do two. I'll probably end up doing two here and provide you with one to practice on your own. So, let me add a page here. Let me recall how to do that. There we go. Another page. So, the first system I want to do, the first example that we're going to solve here is going to be y equals negative 8/3 x plus 4, the second equation, and negative 1/3 x minus 3. Okay, and so we're going to graph this. I'm going to do it freehand without graph paper. It's challenging, guys. This is not an easy task by any means, but what we're going to need our y-axis and our x-axis. Guys, I'm freehanding this on the iPad here. If you guys have a ruler, it certainly makes drawing straight lines a lot easier, so I use that tool. Okay, so the first line, guys, we need to know, well, what's the slope? We need slope to graph lines. Well, that's negative 8/3. I apologize for the bell there. And we need the y-intercept where it crosses the y-axis, and that is at 4. So, graphing this line, The y-intercept is 4. That's where it crossed. That's the point I've just plotted. And then the slope is -8/3. So we're going to have to go down 8, right 3. So we're going to need to go into the negatives here. At least a handful of points. And we're going to need to go to the right 3 as we do our rise over run. We're going to go down 8. So just count that off on your y-axis. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then we're going to go right 1, 2, 3. And so that is going to be the ordered pair. What? Well, that is 3, -4. That is the point 3, -4. We went from this point 0, 4 to the point 3, -4 using our slope. Okay? And again, freehanding. A straight line can be somewhat difficult. So I start with a dash and then kind of fill it back in. And that doesn't look too bad. All right. So that's our first line. Let me grab another color here and we'll graph this second line. This second line has a slope. It has a slope of -1/3. And it has a y-intercept of -3. So y-intercept here, -3. That's that point 0, -3. And our slope, we're going to go down 1, right 1, 2, 3. And so right there we can see, guys, at that point 3, -4, this line is going through that point. Okay? And so this point, 3, -4, that is our solution. That is our solution. Okay, 3, -4. That is where the lines intersect. Okay? It is worth noting, guys, so like what's the significance of this point? Well, if you wanted to check to make sure that is our solution, which it is, we graphed it, that's where they intersect. But if you wanted to do a check, if you plug in 3 for your x and -4 for your y, let's do that in that first equation. -4 equals -8/3, that's where I substituted my y. Here's where I'm substituting my x. Okay, if you do this work here, 3/3 is going to cancel. You've got -4 equals -8 plus 4. So -4 equals -4. That's a true statement. Okay? If you checked it in the bottom equation, again substituting -4 for your y, 3 for your x, you should get the same result. You've got -4 equals -1 minus 3, which is -4 equals -4. Okay, so that point, that's our solution. It satisfies both equations. That's what it means to be a solution. So the point that satisfies both equations, makes both equations true. Okay? And I want to do one more example for you. So let's add another page here. Let's do these two equations. Let's do this system. -x plus 3 and y equals 5x minus 3. We're going to graph these two lines, okay? So again, we need our y-axis. We need our x-axis. Okay. And so starting with this first equation, this one has a slope of -1, so down 1, right 1. And it has a y-intercept of 3. So let's graph this. Y-intercept, there's the y-intercept at 0, 3. And we're going to go down 1, right 1. That's the point. 1, 2. We're going to go down 1, right 1. That is the point. 2, 1. And if we went down 1, right 1 more, we would be at that point. Three, 0. Okay, so this was my little note about plotting additional points. Guys, it can make graphing straight lines a little easier if you're freehanding it. Okay, and it can also help you find where the intersection is, as we're about to see when we start graphing this next one. It has a y-intercept of, I usually start with the slope, but it has a y-intercept of -3, and it has a slope of +5, so 5 over 1. All right, so y-intercept -3, we're going to go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to go up 5, right 1, up 5 over 1. And so we can see, guys, the intersection there is happening at that point, 1, 2. So our solution is the ordered pair 1, 2. Guys, and that check can work. If you wanted to plug it back in, you check and see that that point does satisfy both equations. All right. So hopefully those couple of examples helped you. You will have a brief assignment here on Canvas where I might have you work through a couple of, probably just one. Yeah, one example. 2. Maybe go through 2, guys. Sorry, a little indecisive there. But yeah, you guys will solve a couple systems, post your solutions, and we'll be in good shape. Okay. If you guys have questions, use that discussion board, and I'll respond as quickly as I can. Thanks for watching today, guys.